break it down for everybody. I'm gonna go through the structure so far, what we've learned, because I got a lot of messages that people like when I go from whatever we learned so far, because it's kind of complex, so everybody can get back in speed. So thank you so much, because I know we have scientists also in the groups that are coming, but we also have somebody that is just starting. So to everybody that started, and actually we have new members came in today, I want to thank you and welcome to Master Octave and being part of all that in the name of humanity. The last couple of weeks, the last 2 weeks, we were talking about the quantum structure, how everything works in a structure, the fact that think about the entire board as the entire universe, the entire energetic field, and the entire energetic field we talk about that is made from frequency, sound, light, vibration, resonance, which is measured by frequencies, and for example, 2 or 3 similar on vibration, basically are merging together and they're creating those 3. If they're similar on vibration, gonna end up going together and will create plasma and gravitational field. So basically, if this is 1, 2, and 3, this is going to be the first one, this is going to be the second one, for example, and this is going to be the third one. And that's how you basically create the plasma. And the reason why this is happening, remember, in the middle is the black hole, which is the stillness. The black hole equals 0 point, which no energy in and out is there. From here you teleport into another reality, and that's the reason how we're going to go into parallel realities. So when this happens, everything is in similar vibration. They create in the plasma and gravitational field. This plasma and gravitational field, it basically splits up and creates another one. And when it creates another one, again, is from the Trinity structure. Each one has a 3 different type of vibrational sequences, sound. And because there's so much energetic field mixed with together, they're starting to pulsate and becomes from this one and this one. If this is one structure and this is one structure, equals on a third one, which again is similar to vibration. And this process, remember 1 plus 1 in a quantum structure, that's why 1 plus 1 does not equals 2, 1 plus 1 equals 3, because between those two, you basically making merging. It's reborn a third structure that is basically carry the similar vibrations of those two, okay? And this together is infinite. All that process is repeating literally infinite into the entire quantum structure. So that's how you create basically this pulsation. That's how you create that energy source that is everywhere, that certain quantum physicists, we already know that you can extract that energy field, and that's how you can build so-called free energy technologies. They're not free energy because energy is everywhere. It's always you extract it from somewhere, but you're the energy source itself. We know that. So this is basically in the beginning that we talk about. Then we end up talking about basically the one particle. And with the one particle, we discussed that consciousness itself is based on, for example, the whole board that we talk about it, there is the entire structure, and consciousness basically is one particle that is vibrating in a very, very high speed of vibration, which is infinite speed of vibration, that is vibrating so quickly that starting to appear next to itself and next to itself to infinite amount of numbers. So that particle, you see it here and here and here, but each particle is basically fractally is moving. The whole space is fractal, moment to moment to moment, and all that, each particle is holding the entire universe. So in each particle, it's actually is the entire board. In each particle, you have the entire magnetic and gravitational field, the mass of the energetic field and how potent that is of the entire universe. That particle is the smallest, is the biggest and the smallest at the same time. Why? Because there's no time. Remember, it's infinite, so if it's moving infinitely, everything is appearing next to itself at the same moment, at the same time. So the entire structure, which we're going to go today in parallel reality, you're going to see the entire structure simultaneously at the same time. And the reason why you're going to see in a parallel reality is you can be able to see them simultaneously and coexist is because of the particle and the entire structure is vibrating at such a high speed that imagine you're watching the TV, but you can see the entire channels. The way, for example, in Wall Street, they see all the channels, so all the numbers of all the stuff that they see at the same time. This is how the structure is. Once you gain your consciousness and regain better understanding and actually the frequency of your consciousness starting to connect with higher realities than three-dimensional, then you're going to start connecting with different parallel realities that are running at the same time, and you'll be able to shift your consciousness from one place to another. So that's how we talk about the one particle. Remember, one particle is the infinite and is the smallest, and is also a nanoparticle. Nanoparticle also have to choose each other. So that's what you need to remember. So that's what we end up talking for the last 2 weeks. This is the beginning of the structure. And now the reason for the parallel realities is happening because remember, this is fractal. Okay, so if that particle is starting to move in, we're going to go now in parallel realities. If that particle is starting to move in back and forth, it's basically flickering. If it's starting moving back and forth and appearing next to itself, basically this is a parallel reality itself. And in that parallel reality, you're projecting your entire universe. That could be your friends and family and everybody else. You're thinking the entire planet, the planets around is like a holographic expression. This, when goes to this moment, the next thing that you're shifting, remember, is basically flickering, and from here is basically, I guess, the portal. That's how you teleport, but you're not teleporting your body, you're teleporting your consciousness, your awareness. So when your awareness goes directly into another hologram of expression, that means this particle ends up shifting into another reality, which is similar on vibration with that. So basically from this one and this one, you're creating a third, and basically that, when it starts flickering, creates this reality. So that's how you need to look at it. That's why I wanted to put all this for you guys, so you understand really the bottom of everything that is there. And that's how, once we learn the beginning, the next 2 classes we're going to talk about quantum manifestation. I'm not going to take only 1 class in quantum manifestation because it's very complex. But once you know that, and when I tell you that we need to do it this way or that way, once you become a master of this knowledge, you will realize that everything I tell you, why am I telling you this? Because I'm not trying to indoctrinate you or make you believe me. It's because when it's backed up by science, you will understand why we need to go in a certain way. Of course, you have to choose to do so, but that's why, the reason why we do that. So what they were talking about, the parallel realities, remember when you're shifting and shifting and shifting, this is a parallel reality, and this is a parallel reality, and this is a parallel reality. But what's happening from the parallel realities, you can also make a timelines, and we're going to discuss about the timeline, but let's start with that. What they said about parallel realities, and that's the download from yesterday, that's the synchronized sequences of structural implementations. Basically, all the frequency, the way I explained here, is similar, like synchronicity. Basically, it's very similar on vibrations. If this particle is vibrating, for example, in 3 hertz, and of course it's something completely different, it's probably in the billions, okay? But I'm giving examples so it's much more simple for all of us. This one could be 3.0 something, similar to that one. That means you carry vibrational sequences from this reality to another in order to create a movement or to create something in your consciousness that you're doing. So you have an experience of something. Because what's going to happen is, if you don't carry similar vibration, we can do that, but when we master it and completely shift to a completely different reality, and you don't carry that, you're not going to know where it is, because you're not trained to hold the memory and the frequency of this type of structure. This is in quantum manifestation. We're going to talk about that because it's really complex. So this thing, the same thing happening here. From here, this could be similar vibrational frequency, 3.0023, whatever that is. and it's going to be similar, and that's how you carry on parallel reality to parallel reality to parallel reality that are similar on vibration, basically the structure of the plasma that we did here, and it's all fractal. Remember, every single hologram, every single moment to moment to moment is a universe itself, and you imprinting everybody else, you shifting the consciousness, you imprinting everybody else, on and on and on and on to infinite amount of numbers. And this is with everything that is happening. So that's why they're talking about synchronized. Basically, they have it's almost like a symphony they're talking about. And it's basically the reflection of all the stuff that's basically happening simultaneously in the structure. So they said they are recollection of all the sources at one momentum. And why is that? Because everything is in the now. If this particle of the universe that we made of is flickering so much, everything that you're manifesting is in this momentum. Before or after doesn't exist anymore because it's to infinite amount of numbers to the point that there's no time. You're basically shifting your consciousness, but you're not traveling anywhere. It's constantly a movement, but basically you're flickering through the structure. Yet, they said, this momentum has its own bylaw of existence. Basically, every single vibration and every single hologram of existence of the particle itself, remember that particle is your universe. So if I'm existing here with everybody, thanks everybody for coming tonight, and you guys online, basically you created your own hologram of planet Earth at this momentum. But at that momentum, that reality that you're holding in this momentum is only for yourself in this particular momentum. At the moment I end up shifting here, I created completely different reality. And it's fractal. That means I end up imprinting everybody in the room, imprinting you back into it. But what am I doing? I'm still seeing similar stuff. Why? Because I'm carrying vibrational sequence that is similar to this one from the previous reality. So I can have an experience of what I'm doing. Okay, this is merging to infinite platforms, they said. So once you understand that is all in one momentum, so basically I already said that if it's infinite platforms, that means, and we're going to talk about this, that means that from this reality, I can go back and forth in any direction, basically 360 degrees. I can go 360 degrees. This particle can shift in 360 degrees to any location, to infinite amount of numbers, basically. If I want a similar vibration, or I want to raise my consciousness and change something, if I know how to do through manifestation process that we're going to talk about, I can literally shift and crystallize completely different timeline of reality. Basically, I'm going to raise the frequency, decrease it or increase it. And the reason why you're going to be doing that when you keep holding your vibration of your emotions moment to moment to moment and a similar, once you raise it and change, then you're going to create moment to moment and you're going to create completely different timeline that you're shifting, and it will have nothing to do with this one. This one will be completely brand new. So the people maybe that exist here or somebody that was giving problems to you will not be there because you end up literally crystallizing moment to moment to moment, completely different frequency vibration, and you end up shifting from this reality parallel, and you end up crystallizing it in one momentum and end up shifting it to a completely different timeline. We're going to talk about that. It's very complex. I know I'm throwing a lot, but that's because I want to prepare you for quantum manifestation. And I would like to take 2 times in quantum manifestation because I think it's fundamental. I'm going to give you examples what happened. I'm going to give you how they taught me, what is the mistakes that I made. And once you know that, it's going to be very clear why things happen, how they happen, how you can shift and maneuver and learn how to twitch. I'm talking about twitching because twitching is frequency, your emotions and frequencies. You're going to learn how to twitch your emotions, let go. That's what I'm saying. Think of as an actor. If I tell you action, I want you to feel it. We're going to learn the meditation. I think I already did with you guys the meditation, but this time we're going to do it again. to practice. And this is how you're going to learn how to shift the structure. So will be probably 2 times of quantum manifestation, because I want to also touch on into the structure deeper, the 0 point again and everything else, how you fluctuate in the realities, what are you doing. So this is basically, they also said, I already said it, the parallel structure are infinite, and it's one momentum and one time, and in all this momentum of the 0 point, you have the entire structure. And we already talked about the 0 point. Basically, in the 0 point, it's so dense that in that particular 0 point, you hold in the vibration and the mass of the vibrational sequence in the entire universe, the entire magma. Okay? And everything is in one point, in one momentum, in a now. Nothing else exists except your momentum in the now. So when you want to make changes, don't go back forth in something completely different, because it has nothing to do with this one. We're going to talk about that because it's fundamental for forgiveness. A lot of times people make mistakes and they don't forgive somebody. In the meantime, that person that did something negative to you is in completely different reality. But the only reason you keep having problems with this particular person because you carry imprinting the same problems and vibrations into that reality, in turn you manifest it. That's how massive manifestation and massive manipulation can happen if somebody tells everybody that something is true and you believe because you end up seeing on TV or heard in the radio. It doesn't have to be the case. You can shift and learn to pop up from reality and timelines the way you choose if you learn how to twitch the entire structure. That's what we're learning. We're learning the quantum structure and the manifestation. So I think I was too serious. Keep talking. So if anybody has questions, open for questions. That's all I'm going to talk. Let your questions be on that or anything else you wish to, but I'm not going to give more of this because it's becoming too complex. So, all right. Any questions?
How does humanity find itself together if each individual person, quantum entity, manifests a different one? Person A creates his, recreates his universe with his idea, and person B recreates his universe at the same. How is it that when they look at each other, they kind of agree on what they see? You know?
Very good question. But that question, everybody asks that question because I did the same thing the way you did. The whole thing is that the whole consciousness is one particle. That means that when I'm seeing you, I'm basically, because remember, it's infinite movement of the flickering of just one particle. If this is the one particle, this is the one particle right here. If this particle is flickering back and forth, movement, that means in order for that particle, I have an experience. I want to experience Earth. Whatever I want to do, what I'm doing is, in my consciousness, I'm imprinting and manifesting every single person that I see at this moment. That means that I'm going to project you and everybody else as a consciousness, but guess what? That projection of you is the same particle. The only reason why you think it's different because you're looking at it as a hologram. In actuality, you're looking at yourself as a mirror image from the consciousness itself, so you can have an experience. And remember, every single person basically is a hologram. You think is matter, but when we really raise the frequency, if I hypnotize you, you're going to walk through the wall because I'm going to tell you there's no wall. You're going to end up basically controlling the structure, and into your hologram, you're going to imprint that there's no wall and you're going to walk through the wall, while everybody else is looking that you're walking through the wall. In your consciousness, you literally shifted to realities, reality within the reality I talk about. Because within this reality, you can have an infinite amount of realities in 360 degrees. This reality is infinite, this reality is infinite, this reality is infinite, and is all fractal for itself. So actually, when you look at somebody else, that's what I keep saying, you can go after somebody, If you wish to, you may, but I'm saying it's not good to go after somebody and to do something negative or to manipulate somebody, because what you're doing is manipulating yourself, because you imprinted yourself as another image into your hologram reality so you can have an experience. So if you think that somebody else is doing something negative to you, guess what? Somebody else is the same particle, it's you, to give an experience because you have a contract to experience maybe forgiveness, or to experience something else, or to be a soldier. Everything is by contracts. The only reason, remember, for the contracts, you can't change them. You cannot change the contract except it's higher consciousness. Only high consciousness can change bylaws and structures. And each reality, actually, the true imprinting has its own bylaws, its own structure. If you shift to a different timeline, this timeline can have a completely bylaw. Right now, if you shift to fifth dimensional structure, which we're trying to go into 5D, you know, we're going to go to 5-dimensional Earth. 5-dimensional Earth, anybody that is going into 5-dimensional Earth has to have a resonance of a positive frequency through, as I always said, the heart structure. That's the reason why we need to move to the heart structure, giving, sharing, supporting each other. It doesn't matter if it's money or something else. Support a structure, the structures that are doing something for humanity, if you want to see that change. But if this is three-dimensional is vibrating in a completely different reality, completely different frequency. So anybody in conscious that does not resonate with fifth-dimensional structure that you need to implement will never be able to move into fifth-dimensional structure of Earth, because simply does not match the frequency. And I had an experience when I was a child, and I know and recall that because when I was a kid, when I was 12 years old or 15, I think I was 15, a friend of mine told me, oh, Marina, come and look at that boy. This 12 years old boy is talking to, he's saying he's talking to, I think some kind of ETs. And I go, what? So I went to see the boy with her, and he started talking. He said he's hearing whatever they say in his mind. But the interesting thing was that every single time, I saw him twice or 3 times with her. The second time I went in, oh no, the first time I went in there, I started shaking. I was literally shaking. The whole body started shaking like you had like 100 coffee. And my voice, the vibrato of my voice changed, and I couldn't talk. I was like this, I couldn't talk. Now I realize what was that, because he was resonating on such a high frequency that was above my structure, and that is the reason why I couldn't hold the vibration around me. In the meantime, my friend had absolutely no problem. She was completely there, talking to him all the time. I was the one that literally dissipated the whole time. I was like this. So that's why I didn't continue seeing him, no matter how interesting. This is what is happening with the structure. That's how I can tell you, understand how, if you don't match the frequencies, not only that you cannot shift, but you can never see that reality. That is the reason why we need to do and sharing and learn how to be nice to each other, because in fifth-dimensional structure, this is the platforms for ascension of a higher order, that the realities that are there are based on sharing, giving, humanity, interstellar, anything that you can think of, but is based on a heart structure. Because remember what we talk about, the entire universe is based on a heart structure. Resonance is the 0-point manifestation, and is no conditions in a heart structure. You don't have a frequencies that coming in and out. Is just an instantaneous manifestation, because nothing is blocking when it's coming from the purity frequency of the car is infinite. That is the reason why we need to move to this structure, if you wish to. So I'm not here to convince you. I'm here to present it the best way that I can do from my heart, for you guys, and of course Master Octave, but you can choose to implement that in your life, and that's okay. If you don't do it this time, could be the next time. Failure, it's an illusion. It's not a failure, because every momentum, whatever you need to be, is exactly where you need to be, because from that point of view, at that momentum, you end up choosing how you want to behave. Yet the next momentum, literally momentum, the next second, if we call it that, you can shift and completely change your behavior, emotions, and this is the reason why it's so important to learn all that, because then you're going to be able to twitch it. If today you don't feel well, that's okay, you've learned your lesson. But in that momentum right now, one of the bylaws I need to tell you, it was that if you're talking to somebody the way I'm talking to you right now, they taught me, and I'm quoting, put to that momentum, because remember, this momentum right now is in a one momentum to infinite. All the realities emerging in one momentum. Nothing else matters before or after if I'm here. So in order for me to really manifest something incredible and my whole day and everything else to be perfect, I have to put 100%, they told me, from my heart, because I want to match the positive frequencies. I want to see positive timeline, 100% out of my heart with the best of my abilities. And why is that? Because in this particular momentum, my universe is the entire structure in the now. That means that from this momentum, whatever I end up projecting as a frequency, remember this is a frequency, that means if I did my best towards you in this momentum, because everything is manifesting now, the next momentum that I do will be accordingly to that frequency. So my next hologram of reality that I'm going to create and imprint will be accordingly to the vibration that I just gave you right now. And that is moment to moment to moment. So you crystallize timeline of reality that is based on that. So everything that is going to happen to you is going to be based on a heart structure through synchronicity. So that's what we're going to learn next time, manifestation. And once you do moment to moment, you crystallize timeline. That the outcome is also going to be, we're going to talk about this in fluctuating realities, how you do that. Okay, that's in a quantum manifestation. Any questions? Any questions online? Everybody? Yeah, Jamie. Jamie's going to say. No questions. So that's basically, guys, if you have any questions, put your questions.
No, we have questions.
Yeah, go ahead. Oh, okay, she didn't see. She wasn't getting them? Okay. That's okay, Jamie. Hold on, guys. We will get the questions now. Say the name.
Is the ego, from Vaughn, is the ego really a part of the human, or is it a negative etheric implant?
I would never call it etheric implant, because everything is from the ether, everything is from the consciousness itself. So anything you do is coming from the consciousness. That's why you cannot separate. Ego is part of the structure, so you don't want to reject the ego. Ego could be your persona of who you are and how you implement yourself. That's what I was told. Through who you are, you actually create whatever you do in your existence. And yet it's nothing wrong if you hold your vibration of who you are and you want to express your emotions to everybody that is around you. That's not wrong. The thing with the ego is if you really overload it. Basically, if you show off and if you do stuff that is more than you need to have, or you want to pretend that you're more than somebody else, that's connected with the ego. You think that makes you feel good, but that's three-dimensional thinking, because in actuality, anybody that you see around you, it's you. So who are you giving the ego to yourself? But what's happening is when you imprint something like this in a structure, remember the structure is also nanoparticle. Nanoparticle is mimicking your consciousness, so the structure is mimicking everything you do. So if you do this to somebody else will come and do it to you, and you're going to feel that you're not good enough or something like this. So remember how you're acting towards somebody and how you do stuff. So ego, it's based on how much of whatever of your persona you're putting into. It has to be equal. It has to be through generosity, through giving. Nothing is wrong if you hold a vibration of being proud of yourself, of who you are and how you carry yourself, as long as you don't go and overtake and think that you're more than somebody else. Stay on the neutrality through the gratitude. Once you do the gratitude, you level everything, and everything else that's coming back to you is based on that vibration. So the people that will come to you will be gratitude to you or do something else. So thanks for your question. Bon, yeah.
Sonia once asks, what happens when we pray?
What happens when we pray?
Mm-hmm.
Wow, very good question. When you pray, what you're doing is you're basically giving a specific frequency. And accordingly to that frequency, remember when we give the frequency, we create in a plasma and gravitational field. That's how you do manifestation, when you pray. But the manipulation with a prayer was that you were thinking that somebody is up in the sky and somebody was watching down and everybody was getting punished because of what they're doing and all the stuff. This was not the case. Your prayer is basically in a way to do manifestation, but if it's implemented through the structure the way we talk about it, you can never say I will, I should, I could, maybe, because every word is a frequency sound. And remember, if you give, you're going to keep waiting something to happen. But that's for quantum manifestation. Prayer is basically tuning specific frequencies into the quantum field for manifestation, but was not done properly. It was a manipulation in the prayer process. So you'll see that when we're talking about quantum manifestation. Very good question, actually. Thank you.
Abby asks, what is our hertz? Approximately has to be less than 40 or we would buzz. So if I'm 3 hertz and I manifest joy for 5 minutes, do I group to 5 hertz or only to 3.4 hertz?
That's a very that's a good question, but I will twitch it a bit because the realities we're going to talk in a quantum manifestation of fluctuating realities. You literally are infinite, so to measure specific frequency that you're vibrating on, this could be done through a machine, or somebody can tell you when they measure the molecules or the vibration of your consciousness at this particular moment, and it's possible to do that. But the problem with that is that you constantly fluctuate. And now we're going to go here with nano. Because if the consciousness is nano, remember what they were talking about the nano. There was a scientist who was asking me, how do you measure the nanoparticle, the temperature? You're not measuring it. You're letting to choose itself accordingly to the vibration. So the same thing is with what you're asking is you cannot really measure it because it constantly fluctuates. You have to have incredible technology to measure it in one momentum but that is the entire universe in this one momentum. Because at the moment that you twitch something else and you're going to shift completely different reality, then you got to measure this one. Accordingly to your vibration, if you making a reality parallel after parallel, it will probably be similar to whatever you do in that moment. Yet, if you drop your emotion to a negative, then you're gonna drop the frequency to more dense frequency, and then you start. And if you keep behaving on and on and on this way, you create a timeline of an outcome. But that could be timeline for the day, or could be timeline for the entire life, depending on the magnitude of what you've been doing and how you did that. So, very good question, actually. Thank you. Wow, very good. Wow, what a questions, guys. Okay, remember what I was talking that in this reality is the biggest and the smallest. So you actually are creating for yourself your own ascension process. Remember, every person that is imprinted is creating their own ascension process. So that's why don't allow anybody to imprint in your consciousness that humanity is not making, and we actually need to celebrate, because just recently the 11-dimensional beings were saying that we made it, that we built enough frequency to shift the timelines to 5-dimensional, because before it was fluctuating so much. Now we literally made it, people. I'm telling you, we are ascending. So you're going to see all collapse of systems and all the stuff. They said the next 3 months things are happening. You're going to see the fruits of everything, of the white hats that did everything in the name of humanity. It's very good question, because you create for yourself ascension process. Yes, somebody else may not see this ascension process, could see 3-dimensional. Why? Because that person, his entire life, did negative stuff to people, and he ended up imprinting for himself hologram after hologram in a negative structure. So how is that person? So what you're doing actually is imprinting in your reality the entire universe of the planet Earth, including imprinting everybody else inside. Yet another person could imprint everybody else inside that you know and experience completely different timeline. That's, for example, I can give you this, how can you relate with that? If right now I am having an experience. I'm sure in your reality you have your own experience, and yet we're meeting in one momentum, you and I. How is this possible? Because we co-created reality. Remember, 1 + 1 = 3 together, and yet I have my own ascension, and I experience in whatever I see every day differently than what you do. And yet we're one particle in a one structure, imprinting each other for ascension process, because if you're not in a similar vibration as mine, you wouldn't even be in this platform. So thank you so much. Hopefully it was clear enough. Okay.
Vaughn's question is, do we have to understand the science to make the shift, supposing that we are giving loving person?
I think it's fundamental to understand the science, because matter and science and consciousness and religion was based on science. Actually, the first word I know from the Bible was frequency, and they removed it because everybody was going to ask what is frequency. So it's important because, guys, look at it. Your structure of who you are is right here, part of it. So how can that not be science? How, if you know that, you will learn how to manipulate the structure, how you can move, how you can tune in your emotion, in your consciousness to give a specific vibrational signal in order to shift whatever you want to do. Because otherwise it's going to be random, and you're going to keep believing that whatever somebody else is telling you, that's the truth. No, you can create your own reality, and you can shift from one timeline to another, depending on how you're twitching this structure. So how are you going to learn to switch from one reality to another if you don't know the structure? That's why I think it's fundamental to know the scientific of who we are. What you see here is what we are made from. That's the consciousness itself. So consciousness is science. It's connected with prayer and everything else, because prayer is based on, as I explained to you, science. The frequency, your words, your thoughts, your emotion, your deeds create a plasmic and gravitational field. And that is accordingly to the entire structure, and that's how you create. But how are you going to really shift to the proper momentum of what you want to do if you don't know how to twitch it? It's going to be random, and then you're going to go and say, why this happened to me? Well, let me tell you why this happened, because look what you did here, and look what you did here. Can you please twitch it next time? Oh, okay. How do I let go? Well, let go in a 0 point. Neutralize it. No new frequency coming in and out. We're going to talk in quantum manifestation next time about that. But first, I'm going to start with examples, the structures, and then we're going to have probably 2 classes on that, because I have a lot to talk about that. Okay, thank you.
There's no name for this question. But
Okay.
It says, what is the best frequency to listen to music-wise to higher your vibration? Thank you.
They just told me symphony, symphonic, multiple layers. So you can teach your brain to rewire. They talk about multiple layers. Then your brain is starting to open up, your consciousness starting to open up. I see it like a layers of realities. You actually starting to perceive. So the answer is symphonies. Find symphonies like a Bach and 440 frequency. I've listened to a scientist that proved that is basically not aligned with the body. So we need to do 432 hertz. I think it's 432 hertz. If you can find music like that, Peter Sterling on YouTube has a harp music. It's very important. He's doing like that. You're gonna see Beethoven and Bach. You can put 432 hertz, but symphony and the harp one is the one that opens multiple layers of your brain synapses. They're showing me to simultaneously running. Okay, it's not blocking; it's opening up. So that's the answer for your question. Thank you.
Is it to train our brain to recognize several frequencies at the same time? Is that why?
What a good question. Yes, that is why, because we're going multidimensional. How come I'm talking telepathically, and yet they're not in my reality. And yet I'm telepathically connecting and downloading information, not only from them, sometimes it's the entire structure from the field or technologies. I will get image and I'll know how to break the technology, tell the scientists, even if it's something I never heard of. So that's because I open up my consciousness so I can download information not only from whatever reality, but if we move into 5D, I know they're 11-dimensional beings. I know they're above even the extraterrestrials, because the extraterrestrials are above us in another parallel reality. That's how we talk about parallel. We're going to talk about connection with that, but they're above that structure, and yet telepathically, your brain, your consciousness is multidimensionally talking and connecting. Thank you so much. Very good question. That's a great question. That's how we do it. That's the reason music was actually manipulated, because through the music they can block. And if you see, there's videos on YouTube, guys, do a research. That's what I say, knowledge is everything, because it's going to open up your mind and you're going to know when you're being tricked and manipulated. You know, there was a video how somebody was playing symphony to somebody, and I think some kind of a Beethoven or something, and somebody was playing rock music, and they were showing through the scanners the brain of these two people was phenomenal. The difference of the one that was listening to the symphony, the entire brain was lit up and you can see flickering. The whole thing was working, and whoever was listening rock and whatever they were doing, it was literally one location, couple of locations, very, very poor of the way the frequency was running. You know, these flashes that were going. So that is probably how things go. Thank you so much, Rich. Yeah. Anybody else? Questions? Yeah. She has more.
So, Peter, how are we manifesting a bad video connection constantly when we are open to learn?
Say again?
How are we manifesting a bad video connection constantly when we are open to learn?
Can I take that one?
Yeah.
Peter, we are donation based, and we are working with what we have with the technology that we have. So we're looking to upgrade as much as we can and as fast as we can. But like I said, we're donation based, so we're doing the best we can with what we have. Love you, brother.
Thank you. Thank you for the question. Any more questions? Come on, honey, you have a question?
Yeah. Can you feel the presence of the energy of a fourth-dimension person?
Can you feel the presence of somebody? Oh my God, look at this guy. He's like, how old is he?
12.
12 years old. Look at the question. Great question. Very good question. My God, nobody asked me this question. Leave it to the children. That's the future, humanity. Very good. Now, remember when we talk about the sixth sense, how everybody talks about the sixth sense, when somebody comes in and you feel sound. Listen to your first thought when you see somebody, follow the emotion that comes to you. That's what I've learned how to, when you see somebody, it's a knowing in your mind and in your body if you like this person or not. Now, if you like the person, immediately the resonance is similar on your vibration. Something is basically, your consciousness already has a connection, similar on vibration. Right? Do you understand that, sweetheart? Yeah. Okay. So that means when you like somebody, your consciousness, your body, your energetic field, because your body is made from frequency and sound, that energy field, it's basically similar on vibration with that friend of yours that you like. That means you can be friends. It's showing you, oh, we're similar in vibration, we like each other. Yet, things may twitch. All of a sudden, that person may decide to do something else. Then you're going to have a different vibe of that person. You need to listen to your sixth sense and what's said. A lot of times, a lot of people know how to talk. They're speakers. They know how to, you know, the way a lot of, for example, politicians are. They learn how to speak in front of masses. In the meantime, you go home and you do something horrific. You know, so, but what is good about that energy that when somebody really is staying on vibrational sequence that is negative all the time, when you open up your senses and you start learning all this stuff and you start channeling and downloading information, you will be able to recognize and download the information by recognizing that that person is not a good person, no matter what they say to you, how they say it, and what they represent in front of you. And watch, I always said, in our society, follow the money, follow the behavior, because a lot of people talk about helping and humanity. In the meantime, at the moment you don't give money and nobody's gonna do anything for you. So that is what you need to follow. I always said follow the money, you know, for this situation. And when you wanna recognize, when you get this vibe, do not override it with whatever the person, oh, the person is so good looking, oh my God, you know, and look at how this person is dressing and she's talking such a good stuff. In the meantime, you feel the first time when you saw the person, you feel that something is off. Listen to that sense. You may not know exactly what is off, but be aware, be, how do you say, concerned, not concerned, is not the right word, but be aware that something is there if you feel this way. And me, for example, I'm told, step back, don't say anything. Sometimes physically something is done so I can stop, because right now is so confusing. There's a lot of people that say something but they do something else. So I usually find if I don't listen, I end up in a situation. But if you end up in a situation, if somebody is really not nice to you, then you need to back off and continue through the heart. So don't ever go after the person and do anything negative. Always go through the heart, because eventually this person is not going to be in your timeline. It's going to be shifted. Thank you, honey. What a good question. You should be proud of your son. Yeah.
Okay, so Dharmesh asked, if in your reality an object appears that you did not expect, at this point, is this my past conditioning that resulted to that object appearing? Object may be living being too. Does that make a difference?
I don't understand the question.
Do you want me to read it again?
Yeah, please.
Okay. If in your reality an object appears that you did not expect, at this point, is this my past conditioning that resulted to the object appearing? The object may be a living being too. Does that make a difference?
If you manifested it somehow, if something appeared out of the blue, it's just because you manifested. You cannot see something in your hologram if you did not create it. Everything that you see moment to moment in your hologram is part of your creation. If you had a basically bylaw, and the bylaw is if you have to go through some kind of a lesson, you cannot skip it. Remember that? But if you see something in your hologram, that means you created it. What can I do to shift it? And now you're going to go through the heart, and we're going to go down with quantum manifestation. I don't want to jump the gun with that. But thank you for your question. Hopefully, I know it's not enough, but I don't want to get in quantum manifestation because I'm going to confuse everybody. Thank you very much. Yes, Rich?
Is it possible that something like that could be a memory from a previous moment that you forgot?
If you carry, good question, if you carry the vibration, you're going to imprint completely new hologram with that object. You never went into the other reality. You just created a new one that you found the object into. You imprinted the object in there if you were looking for that object. You imprinting a brand new hologram. You're not going back. If you say, oh, I was looking for that, guess what? You imprinted it and you created a new hologram and you found your object here. You're never back in the same reality. You created a brand new one to find the object and imprinted the object in there and everybody else around. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
We're going to go through quantum manifestation. Really going to go deep into that. That's why I want 2 classes for that, because it's just a lot. And I don't want anybody confused. The first one I'm going to do experiences, a little bit of manifestation, and the other one is going to be deep into knowledge. Manifestation.
This question's from Sonia. Can the energy of our ancestors slow our shifting if they had low vibration?
Can the energy
Of our ancestors.
Oh, good question. Very good question, actually. I had an experience with that. Yes. If your ancestor You know, they passed away. Obviously, they went to some kind of a reality of a timeline somewhere, you know. If you end up raising your vibration so high, what I personally experienced from my guidance, sometimes is given permission for them to contact you because you end up vibrating a certain vibration that they cannot touch the realities. So what they usually did was talking to me by telling me what the person is saying. That's how they did it. And I had my great-grandmother that came in, and they told me she has a very difficult time coming into your platform because of the vibrational sequence. So I know that was a very good question that I experienced through them. Yes, that is a good question. That's how, I'm going to connect that, how negative structures, once you go into this, cannot come into your platform. It has to be some, they can do, by the way, through manipulation and technology, but they can never naturally come into your platform if it's from the consciousness itself. It's simply not allowed. Not that it's not allowed, you don't match the frequency vibration. So that was a good question.
This next question is from Peter. What is happening when reality seems to flicker? An example is, I saw my reality flicker, and I had a split-second moment of complete blackness, not even dark, but black. Thanks.
Yeah, very good question. You end up shifting the reality. This is exactly how it happens. If you shift and you create and you go into a portal, actually you saw the fractal of you shifting to one to the other. Actually, you teleported. That's how you saw it. Actually, when you go through teleportation, it's like a black hole. If you saw the movie Contact, what was the actress? Jodie Foster. Remember how she went in there with the chair, without the chair, she moved through this portal? When I moved through the portal, when I became lucid, it was like not exactly her color, but was dark and light, the light, like a white light coming in through the darkness. It was like a black hole, literally a black hole. So what you end up doing is shifting. And that's the reason why this happened. Actually, the flickering, you end up seeing the vibration, which is very good. So nothing's wrong with you. You're doing great. It just, you end up, actually your awareness, you end up raising your awareness, and this is the reason why you end up catching all this stuff. Also, you go from one room to another, you don't have a recollection how you end up in a room. The whole thing from the hallway to the kitchen, for example, is missing. That's the reason, because you don't need to go from the hall to the kitchen. You can literally, if this is your hall, if this is your bedroom, this is the hallway, this is the kitchen, you can literally bypass that and you can create from your room to this one, and this is how you bilocate. But we're going to talk bilocation and manifestation. So I just wanted to twitch a little bit and connect with that. Plug something in for you guys. Because it's not enough so far what I give. Let me give you more.
This next question is from Ruth.
Hi,
Is
Ruth.
there a race of beings called the Drak? The Drak? I don't know. It's D-R-A-C-H-K. Here helping humanity.
Yes, they say we don't work with them, but yes, it is. And remember, they're saying I'm going to download this right now, guys. So when I do that, I just want to focus on one point. When we're connecting with them, it's through different structures, basically different realities. We don't work with this platform, yet do not take this consciousness as a positive, as a negative. Depending on the realities, they have a positive incarnation and they have negative incarnation. And as we said, if a negative structure at this point of moment of ascension decided to go into a positive, we will be given holographic extraction in the consciousness itself to continue ascension through their timelines of realities. That's what it is. So no, my specific group is not working with that group, yet they are existing, and do not take that any reptilian and anything like this is all negative. in a structure is always yin and yang, positive, negative, depending on your vibration, what type of timeline, how you end up vibrating this momentum, you connecting with different reality, with different structures. It's all vibrating on your own consciousness itself. So do not take the story of somebody else true for you, create your own, and yet you collectively existing for ascension process. Okay, thank you. All done? We done? Okay.
Yeah, no more questions.
No more question, guys? What is the time, actually? Oh.
7:55.
Oh, 7:55. Okay, well, this is it for today. Next time we're gonna do quantum manifestation and all the experiences that I have. So the reason why I want to talk about the experience, and I'm saying that not because I want everybody to know, but you end up connecting with how I've learned through the process. I've learned everything hands-on. Nothing was given to me without me going through the process. So anything you see I've done is through hands-on learning from them. And I've had a lot of emails that told me that you guys like when I tell you my experiences because you're gonna relate to it, how you can implement it and what exactly happened. And through my experience, I can also tell you what not to do and how to twitch it, because manifestation can happen through infinite amount of probabilities. And we're gonna touch that, how you don't think is only one way of doing it, because even when you manifest, it could happen to, again, infinite amount of ways. So through my experience, you're going to see what ways is possible, because when I was learning, I also got confused through the process a couple of times, and they had to stop me and explain to me what I did in the structure, how I twitched it, and how it's implemented, and how I can continue implementing it, okay? Well, thank you so much, everybody. Thanks so much for your gifts, donations to Master Octave. I love you guys. From my heart to yours, I love you. Let it be. Thank you. All done? Yeah. What a good question you gave me today. I'm so proud of you. Oh my goodness. Any questions, everybody? Anybody? Anyone?
Yeah.
Anyone?
Yeah. To try and understand some of these things, one technique is to, and it's very strange, you try to generalize what you're talking about to show that what you're talking about is a specific example of something more general. This is the kind of thing done in science.